Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast, and welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
I have a lot of experiences from when I was very young. I remember them all vividly. But here's one that's always creeped me out a lot. Be me, 4 or 5 years old, laying in my bed watching TV on a small box TV. Look out the window and see 5 children playing jump rope in my front yard right next to my window. They are all black and white, like they were straight out of the Andy Griffith Show, dressed in 50s and 60s children attire. One of the boys closes to my window, notices me looking at them. Everyone else stops and stares at me. They all scowl and don't break eye contact. Me being the social butterfly I am, hop out of bed and try to go play with them. Get to the front yard, look around and no one is there. Go back inside and cry because I wanted to play jump rope with the black and white 50s ghost children.
I have a similar experience, as if the person was black and white and dressed as Charlie Chaplin. It may have been him for all I know. Be 4 or 5. Wake at night. Dark and scary, so run to mom and dad's room. Crawl into bed and go to sleep. Wake up again later. Look up next to me. Sitting on the bedside drawer is Charlie Chaplin. He's looking down at me. Wasn't scary or creepy, but had an overwhelming feeling of safety and comfort. Went back to sleep. Convinced to this day it was my guardian angel.
Be 8 or 9. The old house I used to live in had 2 bedrooms upstairs. One was mine and another was the guest room. Both were connected by a long hallway bathroom that, if the doors on both sides were open, would let you see from one room to the other. Sleeping in the guest bedroom one night just because I felt like it. Wake up in the middle of the night facing the open bathroom. At the far end of the bathroom is a floating white figure, looking like a stereotypical sheet ghost, only without eye holes. As I'm looking at it, it starts to float slowly towards me. In the dark it is bright white. Lose my mind, but am too afraid to get up or call out for my parents out of fear that once I do it will know I'm awake and chase me or something. Close my eyes and wait for death. Nothing happens. Open them again, the ghost is where it was when I last closed my eyes, and when I look at it again it starts to float towards me once more. Repeat a couple of times until it reaches the bathroom door right outside the guest room. Close eyes and turn over, feel like it's right next to my bed looking down at me. Go back to sleep until morning. Still scared. Looking back on it now, it was probably just sleep paralysis, but I've heard others talk about dark shadow people coming out during that. What I saw was bright, vibrant white and sort of glowing.
I went to middle and high school in this tiny Texas town that had more fields than buildings. It was a really spread out town with nothing but cows and old decrepit houses. Only had one gas station, school district, and like 3 restaurants. I lived out in a kinda old house pretty far from the school, meaning there were a lot of fields I could just kinda walk in. I'd walk to old abandoned houses and stuff just to kinda explore and see. I was a dumb teenager and it seemed like a smart idea. I took a big stick with me and naturally that was enough. I had a house I really liked because it had tons of bees in it. They had made the walls into their hive and it was really cool. It also had some books, mostly history textbooks for some reason, and a ton of burnt out candles and old dried, torn towels. I took a friend out with me once to show him the bee house, and I noticed that for once, some of the stuff was moved around. I wasn't too spooked. We had a lot of immigrants from Mexico pass through, so I figured it was just that. But it felt weird. The candles were picked up and moved to another room as if they were all just thrown in the corner. The bees had also moved. I was just in there a few days ago. But I realized then that the bees were never in the same room as the candles. Might have been that they didn't like the smoke or whatever. There were a few spiral notebooks now, with some blood and feces on them. And they just said riser over and over again in some. And mine beyond. There were a few shovels that I don't think were there before. As much as I loved the bees, I didn't go back there. For some reason, this spooked me. My friend stole a history book from there, and I remember he showed me that several pages had X's crossing out historical events. I didn't like that he took the book and asked that he put it back. But he said he burned it in his fire pit. I do remember that we had some bees make a hive near our house some months after that.
This happened when I was elementary school age or near that. Be me playing in my room. Him standing up and I'm just 2 meters or less away from my room door. I hear knocking on one of glass part the door has. Now the door has glass parts but you can't really see through them and the hallway connecting my room to other rooms was dark. I happily run to my door and open it expecting to see my dad because he does that sometimes. Hallway is empty. Oh shit. This hallway is like 7 meters long from my room to living room and when my dad or my mom walks there I can easily hear them walking because it echoes a little bit. There was no sound this time. Scared I run to the living room. I open the door and see everyone just chilling on the couches. Doors are old and wooden with metal doorknobs and one to the living room makes this screeching sound every time you open it. I didn't hear that as well and it was closed. I don't say anything so they don't think I'm autistic. My big bro was also with us but he was also chilling in the living room. If it was one of them they must have passed that hallway faster than me reaching my door and getting into the living room without making any sound which is impossible in my eyes. Another one from preschool age. Me and my cousin playing in my home. No parents present. Maybe my grandmother was there, not sure. Doorbell rings and we both run to the door. Parents say never open door without asking who is there first while they are not around. Screw that, I open it. At this time there was no sensor lights in our apartment and we are the first floor. It is dark but I catch a glimpse of an hunchback figure going downstairs. We yell, who is this? No answer. We run to balcony to see who is gonna come out from apartment. No one there. Whole street is empty and it is a long linear street so there is nowhere to hide. It might be a homeless man or something and just hid in the apartment instead of going out.
9 or 10 years old. Cousin always visits since I'm his only friend and vice versa. It was the middle of the afternoon. My parents were working so we were alone. Playing video. Hear some steps going down in the kitchen so we go check it out. The faucet was open. Close it and head back to my room. Shortly after we hear footsteps just outside the room. At the hall. The living room TV turns on the highest volume possible. Too scared to move at this point. Eventually we decide to man up and run through the apartment and go to our grandma's house. And so we did. As I was locking the main building's door, I look back at the direction of my apartment. Remember like it was yesterday. Seeing a little girl, frowning, kind of hiding behind the corner of the wall. Had pale skin. Short channel black hair. A little ribbon onto it, and she wore a cute little white dress. She looked sad but puts her palm up. As if saying hello. Freeze to my knees and run to Nana's place. A few years later I had another experience with whom I believe was the very same little girl. After that I dream about her from time to time. She never said a word in those dreams but always smiles and plays about. She even gave me a flower once just before I woke up. Can say she is my second oldest friend. That is, if I'm not a schizo.
Not really that creepy, but it scared the life out of me at the time. Be me 15 at the time. Live in a fairly new house on old land. The little sister whose room is adjacent to mine always says there's a ghost in her closet, but I chalk it up to her being an idiot. One night I'm trying to go to sleep and the room was pitch black. Notice a light going up and down inside of my closet as if someone's inside shining a flashlight on the cracks of the door from the inside. The closet is tiny on the inside and there's no way anyone in my family could have gotten in. Try to tell myself it's just reflections from the car lights outside, but then I realized there was no way it was possible with my curtains. Basically just lay there and crap myself because I'm too scared to check inside closet. It happens every so often, always when I'm laying in bed. Ignore and go to sleep every time I see it because it's not my problem.
Be me, 16, 2006. Mom homeschools me and sister. Also babysits my cousin's daughter. During our lunch break we're sitting in the living room watching TV. Cousins goes down the hallway towards the laundry room. Me and sister hear her talking to someone. Our grandparents live next door so maybe grandma needed something. Mom goes to check and see. Me and sis go too. Cousin is by herself. Even though we 100% heard an older woman's voice. Mom asks her who she was talking to.
A lady named Sue.
No one in our family is named Sue. Mom asks her where Sue went. The girl points at the floor.
She's hiding.
Everyone is very weirded out at this point and getting chills. Mom decides to have us get our shoes and jackets and go over to Grandma's house for a while. Cousin's daughter is standing with her back to the hallway waiting for us to finish putting on our shoes. All of a sudden, the little girl drops to the floor. Like her legs got kicked out from under her. Starts being drugged by her hair down the hallway. Kicking, flailing, and screaming. Mom runs after her shouting, "Get away from her." Mom grabs her. And we book it out of the house. The house was rebuilt around 2003. And for about 10 years, the hallway gave off this very unsettling, claustrophobic vibe. We hated going down the hallway at night. It also felt like something was right behind us. I've had a lot of other experiences in this house too. But it seems to have calmed down a lot in the last 5 or 6 years.
Sitting downstairs watching TV. Hear sister shout my name from upstairs. Call out to let her know I'm downstairs. She runs down screaming, saying I was sitting on my bed in my room just staring at the floor. Few years later, after me and sis swapped bedrooms. Go to walk downstairs. See sister sitting on her bed. Speak to her, she doesn't look up from the floor. Go downstairs. Actual sister is in the kitchen. That house was haunted for real, and that room in particular was off the charts freaky energy.
While growing up, I had a couple of weird, random experiences I could never really explain. Sure, you could say it was just a kid's imagination, but the fact that they were random and sometimes recurring makes it seem like strange things for a kid to just imagine. The basement was dangerous sometimes. As soon as I'd step off the stairs, I'd get an uneasy feeling. The type of feeling you get when you're somewhere you know you're not supposed to be. Suddenly feel like I'm being watched and feels like someone or something is right behind me. Fight the feeling enough to grab clothes. Survival instincts kick in and felt like I had to run for my life. Run upstairs like a flash of lightning. Be too scared to go back into the basement for a few days. Here's another. Sometimes would hear loud banging from the basement. At first tell myself it's just the pipes because the house is old. But if it's pipes, then why don't I hear the banging more often when the furnace, water heater, or whatever is running? Then tell myself it's just rats knocking things over. But if it's rats, then why haven't I seen droppings or signs of them in the kitchen or storage? Rats also can't keep a rhythm. Decide to spy on the basement through the laundry chute. It sounds like the dryer door is being opened and slammed shut repetitively. But there's no light, so clearly no one is downstairs. The dryer isn't on because I don't hear its electric humming, and it wasn't laundry day. The banging goes on for 2 to 3 minutes before stopping. One more recurring thing. Develop the habit of staying up all night during the summer. Be up playing video games until dawn and then sleep. Sometimes I'd randomly smell the strong scent of a cigar in the middle of the night in my room. No one in my family smokes, let alone would smoke a cigar. No one is up, so no one lit a candle or anything that would smell like a cigar. Hadn't been around anyone who did smoke cigars, so it's not the scent was stuck to the fabric on my clothes. A few times I'd check outside just to make sure the neighbor wasn't up smoking one in case it was coming through the window. The scent would be around for a little bit and then disappear. I was always the only one who could smell it, and it would only be in my room. I've signed then moved out of the house and moved across the country. Yet, I sometimes still smell a lit cigar randomly even though I'm in a totally different, newer house. The smell seems to only happen in the evenings or night, and I'm still the only one who ever smells it. I'll even ask people around me if they smell anything when it happens, and they always say no.
Be me. 15. Have 3 friends over one night. Playing video, eating pizza, drinking beers, and smoking weed. We decide to go for a walk to get snacks because we stoned. It's not too late, so shops will be open. We decide to explore underneath this bridge where drain water comes through. We get under the bridge and are hanging out acting like dumbasses playing with old graffiti cans. I look up and I vividly remember this. The bridge was about 4 to 8 meters above the drains. It's dark, but I can see him. There's a man hanging from a rope. He's dead. My heart skips a beat and I begin internally freaking out. I swear to God he's dead, but his eyes are looking right at me. He's pale, wearing a suit, and just hanging from under the bridge. Dude, what the hell? My friends notice I'm looking at the body and freak out. It gets really eerie under that bridge. The water drain doesn't get any light from the road, and it's basically pitch black 6 feet ahead of you in all directions. We book it. We didn't even get snacks, we just ran all the way home. Back at mine, we're just in my room talking quietly even though we're home alone. I've never been so shaken up in my life. Never seen a dead body before. One friend broke down crying and called his mom to get picked up and go home. The 3 of us can't sleep, so we stay up all night watching dumb comedies until we pass out. Next morning we eat breakfast and decide to head back and call the police. We walk to the bridge and go under it again. The body is gone. Weirdest part though, was that there wasn't anything on the news about it. No missing persons, no dead bodies, no crimes reported. It's like it never happened. I never mentioned it to my parents, but I wish I did. I was just so scared though. I still have dreams where I'm walking late at night and I find his body again. I hate these dreams. I always see him in my dreams.
I have 3 that have to do with lights and ghost things. The first one had just turned the lights off to go to sleep in my room with my ex. I look at the ceiling and there's a glowing white light on the light. The light bulb was one of those upside down dome things, and no, it wasn't the light that I had turned off, but it was near it, just not in the spot. I started screaming and ran to turn my light on, and didn't sleep in the dark for a few months after that. Next occurrence was the next year. I kept seeing these weird green lights shining through my blinds. They were almost like a laser pointer, but not clean dots, just a glob of lights. When I looked outside, I didn't see anything, and whenever I called my roommate, and it would disappear as soon as he opened the door. One time my GF saw it though and was freaked out as well. Someone on the floor above us jumped off the balcony and self-ended that year. My roommate also got sleep paralysis and saw a gas mask. Mad scientist entity. And I also saw an Egyptian masked entity and sleep paralysis there. Bad juju all the way around. The last one was the scariest. It was a week after my brother died. I was staying at my GF's apartment since he died in my house, and I couldn't stay there anymore. I woke up to the feeling of something's presence. I opened my eyes, and this floating hand with a red light coming from its palm was hovering over my asleep GF. Inches from her face, like it was going to do something to her. I'm getting goosebumps typing this one because of how scary it was, bros. As soon as it saw me, it withered away and disappeared. Here's another 2 that occurred at different times while I was driving from my hometown to my college town at night. The first time I was driving from my college town and was driving my friend. He was handling GPS and he had us miss a turn so we don't go on the highway but take some creepy back roads. This is probably at 11 or 12 at night. As we're driving, I had a bad feeling, and this beat up old sedan drives next to us. All 4 people in it have creepy ass purge masks. And as they're next to us, they wave at us. Then I speed up and they get behind us and follow us for 30 minutes. Probably some hillbillies trying to screw with us, but still was the chance it was some satanic or serial killer thing. Really freaked me out. The next trip was also at night and I was driving a different friend back. Again, I missed some turns, so we took the back roads. The weekend before, I listened to some douche on Joe Rogan podcast about aliens. I think his name was Greer, and he explained how you can call aliens with your mind, so the last 2 days I was standing outside trying to do that. Didn't think it worked until that drive back to my college town with my friend. I was telling him about it, and then we see these blinking lights and orbs in the sky. I point them out. Probably just a helicopter. Plane, drone, whatever. I noticed that they're following us. Blinking, changing colors, turning and going really fast. We start getting freaked out. As we continue to see these things all over, we pass a farm field. Again, this is the middle of the night and the road was single lane, pitch black, no cars around us. We see something glowing in the field. As we drive by and look at it, I tell you not, it's some kind of metal contraption like a spacecraft in the middle of the field with an orange glow around it. He screams to drive, and for about 30 minutes I haul ass going 110-ish. My dad gave me his old Mercedes AMG so it can really rip without damaging the wheels or anything.
This isn't a childhood story, as it just happened to me today. For context, I live in a private house with 3 floors, the first of which is separate from the 2 other floors. Be me today. Grandma recently passed away from old age. She used to live on the first floor of our house. Me and my brother are alone in the house. Parents left for a trip around 2 days ago. It's around 10:30 p.m. We decide to watch movie. Want to make popcorn but have no cooking oil in kitchen. Call mom, ask her if there is any left. Says check in grandma's house. Go down with brother, look in her kitchen but find nothing. Go back upstairs and start watching movie. Around 11 p.m. hear loud bang from the first floor. Go down with bro, check outside the door and see nothing. Lock door and go back on second floor to finish movie. Finish movie around 12:30 and go on third floor to sleep. Around 1 a.m. as I'm sitting in bed, hear really loud bang again from first floor. Tell my brother, who was sleeping. We go outside in the balcony to check but don't see anything. It's 1:43 a.m. now and I don't know WTF to do.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel as more green texts will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.
Remember to check out the Odyssey page in the description for a second archive of the channel's videos.